How are you? It is absolutely wonderful to have you here at this global webinar. I haven't done a global webinar in a long time. And for all of you who have signed up from around the world, for everyone joining me here on Instagram Live, I want to make this 45-minute session, or maybe I'll go a bit longer or a little bit shorter, but I want to make it full of value for you. When I was growing up, my dad took out a Sanskrit poem and he translated it into English and he put it on a refrigerator door so my brother and I could see it every morning before we went off to school. And I've never forgotten what it said on that piece of paper. It said, "Spring has passed, summer has gone, and winter is here. And the song I meant to sing remains unsung, for I've spent my days stringing and unstringing my instrument." As I got older, I asked my father, always a source of great wisdom in my life. I said, "Dad, what was that poem all about?" And he said, "Robin, that was a poem written by a man whose heart was filled with regret over a life half lived. He was always getting ready to live. He got busy being busy. He was always waiting for the perfect time to sing the song that his life was meant to be." And I think we live in a fascinating, beautiful, troubled, volatile, uncertain world right now. A plague ravages the earth. There is social unrest and great division. There is economic volatility. There is climate change, and it just goes on and on. And what I want to do in this webinar and in our time together is take you through a number of ideas that will help you sing the song that your life is destined to be. I want to walk you through some very practical ideas that will help you live your promise, that will help you wage war against distraction, that will help you feel better, that will help you have more energy, that will help you upgrade your joyfulness as well as your productivity. We're going to talk about a little bit of philosophy in our time together today. I'm here in Los Angeles. I've been doing a lot of podcasts. And so often everyone's asking me, "Robin, so what are the tactics to be an everyday hero?" You might have seen my new book, The Everyday Hero Manifesto. So a lot of wonderful podcasters have been asking me, "Robin, give me the tactics. What are the tools?" And what I've often said in the interviews is, methodology without philosophy is an empty victory. I'm going to repeat that again because I think it's important. Methodology without philosophy is an empty victory. So the methodology that I'm going to walk you through is useless if you don't have the right philosophy. We live in a world based on so much, it's almost like a mathematical world that discounts wisdom, discounts philosophy. It's like, give me the tactics, give me the five-step formula. But without the right philosophy, without the right sense of what you want your life to stand for, without a clarity on what your mountaintop looks like, you might make the climb with the right methodology, but you end up climbing the wrong mountain. And so I'm going to encourage you to embrace not only methodology and tactics and habits and rituals and routines. I'm going to encourage you to fall in love with philosophy, which is asking questions. What do I want my life to stand for? This year, what 5 things must I accomplish for this to be the greatest year of my life yet? For those of you just joining me from around the world now for this global webinar, I welcome you and I thank you. And people have been asking me, "Robin, how do we go deeper to make this year our best year yet?" I can tell you more about it later. But if you're interested, you can go to themonkmethod.com, which is a system I've built to make this your greatest year yet. I'll talk more about it later because people have been asking me about it. For now, I want to read a chapter to give us some context for this webinar from the Everyday Hero Manifesto, and it's called Join the Hope Brigade. And I encourage you, no matter what you're going through right now, do not lose your hope. Protect your hope at all costs. You might be struggling. You might be wondering if the pandemic will end. You might be uncertain about the future, as so many people are, but just remember, do not lose your hope. Protect it at all costs. Stay inspired. And I'm going to talk about some ideas that will help you do that. So I'm going to read this chapter, Join the Hope Brigade. Where there is darkness and doom, and the people feel defeated, know that doubt is the great swindler, and join the Hope Brigade. When you are punished for your truthfulness, where you are misunderstood for your genius, rebel against such cowardice and join the Hope Brigade. In times of misfortune, when you think of quitting, when fear enchants your counterfeit self, where despair does its violence, silence the enemies within. Recall your ability to perform acts of wizardry and join the Hope Brigade. The flock will beckon you to join them, to live noisily and to crave well beyond plenty, to disregard your nature and to dishonor your power, to stifle your instinct for simplicity, to allow the attractions of ordinary to invade your hours. Refuse this request of the majority by knowing the fury of your sovereignty and join the Hope Brigade. When you wonder if you matter, while remembering that you are mortal, in the mornings of your delicious angst, consider the serenity at the root of your bravery. Proceed resolutely and join the Hope Brigade. Has love torn your heart? Does life seem too hard? Do you feel alone? Is adversity more common than triumph? Has worry welcomed you more than cheer? A new dawn is coming. The fruits of your goodness will soon be showing. Have faith in fortune's fairness and join the Hope Brigade. That's, if you're just joining me, it's from the Everyday Hero Manifesto. So, a little bit about my origin story. I come from very humble beginnings. I sure didn't grow up with the silver spoon in my mouth. I've had a lot of adversity in my life. I think pain is a great purifier. A bad day for the ego is a great day for the soul. When we are in a difficult time or a difficult moment, for example, as we are on planet Earth right now, we want it to end. Yet what I'd invite you to consider is it is our difficult moments that make us who we are meant to be. Helen Keller said it beautifully. She said, we would not learn to be brave and patient if there was only joy in the world. And so, just as a gentle, respectful reminder, it is the times that we are on our knees that we get to build intimacy with our highest power. It is when we face adversity that we get introduced to how strong we are. It is when our heart is broken or when we suffer that we can use the suffering as stumbling blocks and stepping stones to get to know our gifts and our talents. I want to repeat that again because I think it's so important. It is in the harsh winters of life. I'll quote Albert Camus, and he said, in the midst of winter, I discovered within me an invincible summer. And so it is in the difficult moments of life that we realize how strong we are. It is in the trials that we crack the ego and the covering over our finest selves. It is when we face problems that we develop wisdom and honor and bravery and compassion. So I faced my trials in my life. I became a litigation lawyer when I was in my 20s. I was very successful, but I felt very, very empty. What's the point of being successful but losing your soul or your connection with your soulfulness and your joy in the process? In the Everyday Hero Manifesto, I say JPF is always more important than FFA. JPF is always more important than FFA. Joy, peace, and freedom is always more important and valuable than fame, fortune, and applause. And there's a chapter in the book called The 8 Forms of Wealth. Our society encourages us to consider wealth as how much money you have. I believe there are 7 other forms of wealth. For example, family. We're going to talk about the importance of family as we go through this webinar. For example, the importance of health as a form of wealth. Someone once said to me, or wrote on a piece of paper at an event I delivered in Qatar, health is the crown on the well person's head that only the ill person can see. Isn't great health and vitality and longevity an incredible source of wealth? How about self-mastery as a form of wealth? Getting to know yourself, self-knowledge, getting to know your gifts, your talents, your strengths, your flaws, your ethical ambitions, your hopes and your dreams. That is a form of wealth. How about doing your work like it's a craft? There's great dignity and honor in all labor. I don't know why the world pedestals the billionaires, but dishonors the ditch digger. I think the real everyday heroes are not only the Nelson Mandelas and the Mother Teresas and the Martin Luther King Jr.'s and the Rosa Parkses and the Albert Einsteins and the Hedy Lamars and the Shakespeares and the Oprah Winfreys and the Elon Musks and the Beethovens. I think the baker who gets up at 4:30 in the morning to create her goods with great pride and love for her customers is an everyday hero. I believe the firefighter that cares for the community and protects families is an everyday hero. I believe the mother or the father that's struggling to put food on the table but still maintains their pride and their honor and their bravery and their dignity is an everyday hero. I believe that the person working in a garden as a gardener but works hard and over delivers and radiates positivity is an everyday hero. So I became a lawyer. I was very unfulfilled. I went on a journey. I started experimenting with different modalities to help me upgrade my mindset, to purify my heart set. We can talk about the 4 interior empires in this as we move through this webinar. But I learned to meditate. I realized the power, the transformational value of keeping a journal. I learned to pray well. I learned the power of words. I tried acupuncture. I tried hypnotherapy. I worked with spiritual counselors. I took long walks in the woods and discovered the power of forest bathing. And over a period of a few years, I made a profound transformation in the way that I thought, felt, showed up in the world. My bravery increased, my happiness increased, my energy increased, my sense of self increases. And by the way, this idea of a sense of self, it's really important for you if you want to make this year the greatest year of your life yet. Getting to know your values, getting to know what you want your life to stand for, getting to know your personal Mount Everest this year. There's nothing, Peter Drucker said it really well, there's nothing so useless as doing efficiently that which should not be done at all. You do not want to spend this year being busy, playing with your phone. I think you can change the world or you can play with your phone. You don't get to do both. And while I've been here in Los Angeles on this podcast tour, so many people have been asking me, Robin, where do you start? Where do we start? And I'm going to get into that as we move through the webinar. But if you are interested in me mentoring you for the next 30 days in a system, a very carefully calibrated system that will help you identify your Mount Everests, your high value targets, and then learn the methods that the world's most successful people use to get amazing results, then I'd love to mentor you. You can go to themonkmethod.com. It's a system and an online course that's based on the monk who sold his Ferrari that will help you make this year the single greatest year of your life yet. So After I made my transformation, I decided to write a book. It was just an instinct. I never saw myself as a writer. People ask me often in interviews, they say, what was the moment? I get this question a lot. What was the moment that caused you to leave the law and start writing and go down this path that you've gone down? And it wasn't a moment, it was more a process. But I believe very deeply that instinct is more powerful than intellect. I'm going to repeat that again because I believe it's really very, very important. Your instinct is more important than your intellect. I listened to the Steve Jobs Stanford address recently. And he said, follow your heart. He said, follow your heart. Somehow it already knows where you're meant to go. In that Stanford address, Steve Jobs also said, don't follow dogma, other people's opinions or the way society wants you to be. Trust yourself. And I think that's incredibly important to remember to follow your instinct. And my instinct suggested to me, even though it was crazy, it was foolish, it made no sense, but my instinct called me to write a book. And so for whatever reason, I followed the instinct and I wrote a book called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. And if you have a dream, which of course you do, and if you have an ethical ambition that you want to achieve this year, so this year is your greatest year yet, maybe it's getting super fit, maybe it's finding great love, maybe it's starting a business, maybe it's upgrading your business, maybe you want more financial wealth, maybe you want to be happier in life, maybe you are looking for serenity or you want to be a spiritual heavyweight on the planet. I don't know what your mountaintop it is for this year. One thing I do know is you've got to trust it and you've got to appreciate that fear screams loudest when your magic is closest. And if you're scared to pursue the ethical ambition and the dream that your heart knows you should follow, just know it's probably exactly where you need to go. And related to that, please remember that an opinion is just an opinion. So don't make the opinions of others truth. In the Everyday Hero Manifesto, there's a chapter about J.K. Rowling, and I find this quite amazing. She had written Harry Potter. She became a, massively successful author, to state the obvious. And then she decided to write some books under a pen name, Robert Galbraith. This is J.K. Rowling. And so she wrote this book under the pen name and she sent it out to publishers and critics and readers. And they sent her back letters that said, you would really benefit by joining a writer's group and taking writing lessons and a writing course. This is what they said to J.K. Rowling after she wrote all of the Harry Potter books. And so I think it's really important to trust yourself. That's really what I'm suggesting to you. Even if you're an army of one, every visionary was initially ridiculed before they were revered. You've got to be willing to stand alone, trusting your vision for the future and starting to believe in yourself even more. No one will believe in you until you start to believe in you. And then when you really believe in you, the world will catch your fire. I spoke of Steve Jobs, and Steve Jobs had Bud Tribble at Apple coined a phrase. He said, Steve Jobs has a reality distortion field. And someone said, people said, like, what is a reality distortion field? And he said, when you were around him and he talks about the new product that he is going to launch into the marketplace, even though it makes no sense and you don't think it'll be done and you're not really sure if the marketplace will love it, you get pulled into his reality distortion field and you realize that he is creating magic, and then you start to feel you can do it. And so I want you, and I can talk about the tactics, and I can tell you right now, prayer, meditation, journaling, reading. I call it the 60-minute student. Getting a mentor, one of the most important things you could possibly do. You will save years, if not decades, Finding the right mentor to teach you the mindsets, the heart sets, the routines, the strategies to scale your fortunes, whatever your fortunes are. It could be a financial fortune, it could be a spiritual fortune, it could be a creative sport fortune. And if you would like, if you're just joining us, or if you're interested in me being your mentor for elite performance, exponential productivity, happiness, and inner peace for the next 30 days, I have built a course. It's called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari Method, based on my global bestseller. This is a calibrated system designed to help you make this year the single greatest year of your life yet. If you want to get a space, and it's built around a 30-day challenge. So if you'd want me to be your mentor for the next 30 days, I'd be happy to mentor you into this system that will help you upgrade your performance, your happiness, your peacefulness. If you want a membership, they're very limited. Just go to themonkmethod.com, themonkmethod.com. And if you get a membership today, my team has put together an amazing bonus for it. So I wrote this book. People laughed at The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. The first editor, and this could be valuable to you, the first editor who read The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari essentially said it was a piece of trash. I almost believed him, but somehow I decided to continue. I only mention that because when you bring your magic to the world, you will have misunderstanders. And one of the most important things I can offer to you with great love and respect is critics are degraded dreamers. And you can live your magic and live a world-class life and build a beautiful lifestyle and have a great impact on the world, or you can listen to your critics, but you can't do both. And I think the very nature of you shining your light, the very nature of you living your primal genius, the very nature of you doing work that disrupts the industry, the very nature of you honoring your promise by getting super fit, by being braver, by rising towards mastery in your craft, by radiating positivity to your loved ones and strangers. The very nature of you shining your light attracts trolls. And so if you are being criticized a lot, you're probably shining very brightly. And if you look at the world's greatest women and men, they attracted not only light and angels, but light attracts moths as well. And so just know that your job as an A player and a spiritual heavyweight and an exponential producer and perhaps even a history maker is to take the stones that critics throw at you and build them into monuments of mastery that honor your humanity. So an opinion is only an opinion. Don't put more weight onto it. You've got to trust yourself and don't listen to the trolls. And someone once said to me, don't feed the trolls. One way to think about it is let success be your revenge and let karma do your dirty work. Like, don't spend time feeding the trolls and dealing with critics. Take the high road, push your magic into the world, build the life that you want, just ignore them. Related to that is, I think it's really important, if you want to make this year the single greatest year of your life yet, you've got to delete the energy vampires and the dream stealers from your life. Those people who don't understand you. You say, here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to become. Here's what I want to create. And they say, but that would never work. Or you can't do it. Or do you think you're so special? Or you're going to be set to fail. Please take the time to remember that you become your conversations. And when I mentor the billionaires or the sports superstars or the movement makers or the titans of industry, one of the first things we do is we do an inventory of the people that, one column, the left column, the people that lift your joy, and then the right column, make a list, at least come up with 10 of the people who steal your joy. something extraordinary happens when you remove the energy vampires and the dream stealers and the toxic people from your life. You want to believe in yourself more. You want to have more energy. You want to be more productive. You want to be happier. I think one of the first things you need to do is clean out the people who are stealing your joy and who misunderstand you. Another point I want to talk about is strengthening yourself. So people on this podcast tour, or this week I've been here in Los Angeles, some people have asked me, but Robin, can a human being really change? And first of all, sometimes I'm quite surprised that people would wonder if a human being can change. We are change and transformation machines. You, no matter where you are, here with me now on this global webinar, you have a gift. And your gift is not only your creativity and your potential for productivity and your opportunity for happiness and impact. Those are not only the gifts that you have. You have a gift called neuroplasticity. The human brain, of course, the human heart and the human spirit is amazing. But let's talk about the human brain. You have a gift called neuroplasticity, which is the ability of the human brain to grow and adapt to different circumstances. The brains of London cabbies were studied, and the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for spatial reasoning, were larger than the hippocampi of ordinary people. And obviously, it's because London cabbies have to navigate all those streets, which are just, they're not linear, which shows the power of when you practice, for example, the cabbies learning to navigate the streets of London. It shows that when you practice, you can actually flex your brain and grow your brain. You are built to transform. You have a gift called neuroplasticity. And the gift of neuroplasticity also allows you to become the person you want to be. We all can embrace new habits. The question is, are you going to be devoted to installing the habit to the point of automaticity? According to the research, University College of London, it takes 66 days, not a day, not in this world that wants everything in 5 minutes. It takes 66 days of practicing the new skill or habit that you want to hardwire to make this year the greatest year of your life yet. 66 days until you reach a point that habit researchers call automaticity. And automaticity is the point you can arrive at where it becomes easier to practice the new habit than not to practice the new habit. The new habit might be joining the 5 a.m. club. You might have read my book, The 5 a.m. Club, and taking an hour for yourself. It's called the Victory Hour, and going through the 20-20-20 formula that I teach in the 5 a.m. Club book to strengthen yourself. Your new habit this year might be writing gratitude or about your hopes and your dreams or about the person you want to be in the day ahead every morning for 5 or 10 minutes. Your new habit might be giving up your excuses or giving up your addictions. Maybe it's an addiction to social media. Maybe it's an addiction to complaint. Maybe it's an addiction to being critical. Maybe it's an addiction to alcohol or drugs. Maybe it's an addiction to watching too much TV. Maybe it's an addiction to making excuses. By the way, bonus point, because you're awesome, your excuses are liars and your doubts are thieves. Underneath every single one of the excuses you might be making, not to be more positive, not to read more, not to put down your phone. You might be making excuses like, I don't have enough time. This would never work. That's a big one. Another excuse is, I'm not the kind of person who could be successful or happy or healthy or building a great business or handcrafting a great life. Beneath every single one of your excuses lies a fear. And if you repeat and recite your excuses long enough, you actually will brainwash and hypnotize yourself to believe they are true. And that's what happens to victims. They say, I can't be the best in my field and dominate my domain. I can't get really fit and have tons of energy. I can't do work like Beethoven composed music. Well, every master was once a beginner. I'm going to repeat that again because I believe it'll be very important to you. Every master was once a beginner and every expert began as an amateur. And if you would like me, by the way, just to pause for a moment, if you are finding value in what you're hearing, and you want to go much deeper into handcrafting a world-class life and making yourself stronger and more productive and more energetic and more happier and more of use to society. And if you want this year to be the single greatest year of your life yet, and you want me to be your mentor for the next 30 days to help you do it, go to themonkmethod.com, themonkmethod.com. This will help you incredibly. People say, Robin, what do I do? Where do I start? How do I do it? I've built an online program that will blow your mind by how valuable it is. It's called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari Method, based on my book, but it goes much deeper. You can get access to it at themonkmethod.com. It's a 30-day mentoring process where I mentor you on how the world's most successful people handcraft great years and get amazing things done. So how do you strengthen yourself? You want some tactics. Everyone's asking, what are the tactics? Well, first of all, remember mindset. So I talk about the 4 interior empires: mindset, heart set, help set, and soul set. So many pundits talk about mindset, but I believe mindset is just your psychology. It's only 25% of the personal mastery equation. We are human beings. We have so much more than our psychology. Is a great and excellent and world-class psychology important? Absolutely. Your daily behavior reflects your deepest beliefs. Your income and your impact always reflects your self-identity. So you've got to calibrate your psychology. Nope, of course. How do you do it? Meditation every morning, journaling about what you want to change, who you want to become. How do you build a great psychology? Reading the books of heroes and industry titans and productive people and spiritualists. How else can you improve your psychology? Clean up your language. I hear people saying, oh, I'm going to do epic SHIT this year. Why would you call your work that? People say, oh, you look really sick. Or if you have a great presentation, oh, you murdered it or you killed it. Or words have extraordinary power. The words you use affect your psychology. Use leader talk versus victim speak. So your psychology is incredibly important. And here's a bonus tip, because you're amazing and awesome. And thank you for joining me on this global webinar. But it's much easier to behave your way into a new way of thinking than think your way into a new way of acting. I'll repeat it again. It's much easier to behave your way into a new way of thinking than think your way into a new way of behaving. So your mindset is important, but it's only 25% of what I call the personal mastery equation. You've got your heart set, and your heart set is your emotionality. Mindset is psychology. Your heart set is your emotionality. We've got a beating heart. And here's a very powerful point, I believe. All of the repressed emotions that we pick up from the micro and macro trauma of life's hurts gets repressed unless you know how to process through them. And so if you really want to become intimate with your heroism, your creativity, your bravery, sure, you can learn the strategies. But unless you clear out you purify your heart set to release all those suppressed emotions, those hidden emotions, that baggage that most human beings are carrying with them without them even knowing it, like guilt, shame, anger, sadness, disappointment, fear. Unless you learn how to clean out those emotions. In the Everyday Hero Manifesto, a lot of you have read this. There is something called the Afro Tool, which will teach you in the most powerful way how to clean out those toxic emotions, because they are creating what I called a field of hurt. And they are hidden within your heart set. Carl Jung, the legendary psychologist, called it the shadow side. And most of us are not intimate with our shadow side, so we're always at war psychologically, and our prefrontal cortex wants to make this year the greatest year yet. We want to do amazing things. We read the books, we do the courses, we get all of that intellectually, but we still are at war with ourselves because We are in what neurobiologists call limbic hijack. We are stuck in trauma and fear. And so intellectually, we know we can do amazing things, but we wonder why we sabotage ourselves. So the AFRA tool in the Everyday Hero Manifesto will help you move through that. So we've got mindset, which is your psychology. We've got heart set, which is your emotionality. It's very important to work through repressed feelings. Sigmund Freud said, buried emotions never vanish unless you move through them and they come back in ugly ways. Mindset, heart set, health set. That's your physicality. And we're going to talk about some tactics and some ideas and strategies to help you improve your health set this year. One would be, and I'm not giving any medical advice, but supplementation. Another way to improve your vitality or your health set this year is hydration. Improves mitochondrial function, drinking water. Another way to improve your health set this year is intense, sweaty morning exercise. That will release BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which John Ratey at Harvard University says is like miracle grow for the brain. BDNF will cause or inspire or activate neurogenesis, which is the creation of new brain cells. BDNF will increase your ability to process, which is an incredible advantage in business and in life and in productivity. Morning exercise will release dopamine, which will make you feel better. It's the inspirational neurotransmitter. Morning exercise will release serotonin, which is the feel-good neurochemical. It will reduce cortisol, which is the fear hormone. How else can you improve your health set? The third interior empire, forest bathing. The Japanese have institutionalized it. Just getting out into nature in this messy world and communing with something larger than yourself. How else can you improve your health set to make this year the single greatest year of your life yet? Sunshine. I love 20 minutes of sunshine every day. How else can you do it? Eating as clean as possible. I forget who said it. I think it was Hippocrates, but food is medicine. Food is medicine. Eating the right food, healthy food, releasing processed food from your life. Less sugar, which causes inflammation, is a great way to upgrade your health set. I mentioned forest bathing. Related to that is walking. Walking, so many of the greatest artists on the planet all had one thing in common. Every day they went for a 1-hour walk. Great way to improve your health set. Meditation reduces inflammation. Meditation has been shown to lengthen your telomeres, which is a great marker of your true age. So those are some of the ideas to improve your health set. Oh, sleep. Rest is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Great sleep, 6 to 8 hours of deep sleep. It's been realized that while you sleep deeply, the brain actually has a mechanism that washes itself. By the way, one of my favorite strategies, again, I'm not giving you medical advice, but fasting. Almost every day I fast from about 9 o'clock until 4 o'clock the next day. All I do in the morning is I have a cup of coffee, and which is a great antioxidant and a cognitive enhancer. And then mostly the rest of the day, and I don't do it every day, but I do it very often, I'm in fasted state. Fasting has been shown to release BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Interesting, right? That's probably why a lot of the creative people and the great saints and sages fast. And it allowed them to enter different realms of cognition and intellectual and spiritual experience. Fasting has been shown to extend your life. It's called caloric restriction. Rats were studied on low-calorie diets, and they were found to live much longer. Personally, I find fasting gives me energy, gives me incredible mental clarity. I save on my grocery bills. It's an incredible productivity multiplier, because imagine if you're eating every every hour, every 2 or 3 hours. It just takes so much time. And the digestive system is one of the body's most energy consuming processes. So it slows you down. By the way, if you're joining us or if you want to go much deeper in this information, you want to learn how to upgrade your mindset, purify your heart set. If you want to learn how to make this year the best year yet, if you want me to mentor you, I've created a system. People have asked me to do this for years. They said, Robin, would you please build a pristine, calibrated system that shows people how to be more creative, productive, and get their goals and dreams done? So 12 months, their year becomes the greatest year of their life yet. I've created a program. It's called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari Method. I just want to be of service to you. It is so good. It is so valuable. And it's designed to do one thing, to help you make this year the single greatest year of your life yet. It's built around a 30-day challenge. I will be your mentor for the next 30 days. If you want to get one of the limited memberships, just go to themonkmethod.com. Themonkmethod.com. Today's batch will probably be sold out very soon. So go to themonkmethod.com and you can get your membership into this program that will help you make this year the best year of your life yet. Do it. It'll help you incredibly. Education is inoculation against disruption. When I mentor the titans of industry, the billionaires, the movement makers, these people invest in their learning. They all have mentors. They love to grow. You don't have to stay static. You can actually learn the ideas of the world-class performers to become the person you're meant to be. And you might say to me, Robin, I can't change. Where do I start? The program teaches you how to start. But what I'd say right now is people say, well, where do I start? Start with where your heart tells you you should start. Maybe it's you go for a walk today if you've lived on your sofa. Maybe you pick up the first book and you read a page and you put down your phone. Maybe you turn off your notifications and you spend less time on social media. And to everyone on Instagram Live, love you, but don't be addicted to social media or your phone. An addiction to distraction is the death of your creative production. I see too many good souls giving away their highest productivity, their creativity, elite performance, and the ability to create a beautiful life because they are caught up in chasing the shiny toys and the trivialities that are attractive in the moment. Yes, it creates dopamine, so it becomes an addiction, but they just can't put the phone down, and they are giving up the best hours of their finest days. So please, take the time right now to realize you're built for real work versus fake work. Realize destiny has filled you with promise and gifts and talents. And it is not only an opportunity, but your responsibility and a great source of happiness to start to honor your gifts and talents even more, to let them see the light of day. I just even feel better when I'm not around my phone very much, when I'm with my family, when I'm reading, when I'm in nature, when I'm around art. This morning here, I went down to the beach and I watched the most amazing sunrise come up over Malibu. And you don't want to miss those moments. Okay, I need to wrap up pretty soon, but I would also say upgrade your circle. I call it your circle of genius. Nicholas Christakis at Harvard University. Get this. He has found that we are influenced not only by our friends, but the friends of our friends and the friends of our friends' friends. Incredible. You and I are magnificently influenced not only by our friends, our circle, but the friends of our friends and the friends of our friends' friends. You might say, why? Two things from science. Number one, mirror neurons. A mirror neuron is a type of brain cell that causes mimicry. We are tribal. So back on the days of the savannah, subconsciously, if the chief developed a tool, subconsciously through mirror neurons, we would start creating that tool. we are now in the modern age, and through the mirror neuron, we mimic. We're like, as human beings, we're mimicry masters. So if our friends are complaining, we start to complain. If our friends don't do masterwork, we start to do average work. If our friends spend all their time playing with their phones or watching video games, nothing wrong with it for a while, but not all day. We behave like the people we associate with. So, mirror neurons. After mirror neurons, there's a concept called emotional contagion, which essentially is this: you will adopt the dominant emotions of the people you spend most of your time with. If you're around people in fear, their fear is contagious and will eventually start to hypnotize your heart set. If you are around people who are angry, you will eventually, over time, through the power of emotional contagion, adopt their anger. So clean out your circle. What else did I want to share with you? The power of hard things. There is huge payoff in doing difficult things each day. What society teaches us is take the easy route. Don't pay the price. Don't read the difficult books. Don't have the hard conversations. Don't choose the hard projects. Don't write the difficult books. Don't watch the deep movies. We are living in a world gone superficial. I challenge you with great love and respect and encourage you at work, or if you're an entrepreneur, do the hard project, the one no one's willing to do. And it's not only the rewards it'll bring you when you release that masterwork into the marketplace, it is the real reward is who you become through the doing of the difficult project. I put my heart and soul in the Everyday Hero Manifesto. I wrote it over 16 months during the pandemic. I rewrote the book maybe 22 times. I wanted every model in the book right. I wanted every line right. I wanted it to be the best I could possibly do. After I finished the Everyday Hero Manifesto, I was a different person in terms of my craft. So do difficult things. Robert Louis Stevenson said, only those willing to go to the edge of their limits will expand their limits. Go to the jagged edges of your highest talents and play at the razor's edge of your potential. Do difficult things. The Spartan warriors used to say, sweat more in training and you'll bleed less at war. Even in your personal life, have the difficult conversations with your partner. Have the difficult conversations with your children. A parent is a parent, not a friend. Set the boundaries. Love them, but teach them. Inspire them, but have the difficult conversations. I'm going to finish up, but I want to talk about respecting your time. I'm going to encourage you to join the 5 a.m. club and do the 20-20-20 formula that I talk about in the 5 a.m. club book. But rising at 5 a.m. and working on yourself is one of the best rituals you could possibly do. Early in the morning, you wake up and you're fresh. Your spirit has let go of the residue from the day before. You've had a good sleep. Your brain is clear. In India, there's a term, and I believe it's called Brahma Murti. And it speaks to the fact that between 4 and 6 o'clock in the morning is the best time to pray. It's the best time to meditate. It's the best time to read the books of wisdom. It's the best time to sit in silence. Best time to visualize yourself performing like an exponential producer. Best time to see yourself becoming the person you wish to be. More loving, more patient, more forgiving, more brave, more noble, more disciplined. So rise early. How else can you manage your time better? Be a minimalist versus a maximalist. Get brilliant at saying no to almost every opportunity so you can focus your primal genius on the 1 or 2 opportunities that will get you to world class. Mentor a lot of companies, mentor a lot of billionaires. One of the snares they fall into is they say yes to every once in a lifetime opportunity. And so they spread themselves so thin. They're always on their phones. They're always working. And because they say yes to so many projects, they never create magic on 1 or 2 projects. So be a minimalist versus a maximalist. Have a few friends, but go deep. Read a few books, but master them. Have a few rituals, but be genius grade at those rituals. If you're an entrepreneur or in your career, try to focus on just doing a few things really, really, really well. Versus, there's an expression I have, which is, it's better to do one masterwork than 1,000 mediocrities. And that's one of the things I see a lot of people falling into. They're always pushing work out into the world, but they're not taking the time to do that one Sistine Chapel ceiling, or that one Moonlight Sonata, or that one Taj Mahal project that would allow them to achieve supremacy in their domain and create a masterwork that would stand the test of time. Final ideas: work on your joy this year to make this year the best year of your life yet. Spend time with family. As I age, I realize one thing I've got right is I've spent so much time with my family, and I've always put family as a very high priority. And I would encourage you to do the same, especially with children. There's a small window of opportunity, and once it closes, it's really hard to open up that window again. My partner, Elle, we went to her grandmother, just an amazing grandmother. We called her Nona. And I remember being at Nona's 90th birthday party. And I had a quiet moment where we sat down together. And I asked her, I think it's really important not only to respect elders, but to interview elders. If you have a chance to sit next to an elder on a bus or on a subway or on an airplane, or just they're in front of you in line at a grocery store, please not only honor them, but ask them questions. And so I asked Nona on her 90th birthday, based on your experience of living such a great, healthy life, what's most important? And she didn't hesitate very much. She said, family. So honor your family. If your parents are still with you, I know it's old school, but I think it's a great school. Respect and honor your parents, because you're going to miss them terrifically when they're gone. Work on your joy by family. Work on your joy by travel. Yes, I know in a lot of countries there's travel restrictions. So when those open up, or if you can travel now, maybe it's within your country, maybe you travel within your city, but usually you eat Italian food, you just go for Vietnamese food. We're nomadic. The human brain craves novelty. If you want to bring back the awe and the wonder of your life, travel. Maybe it's by walking late at night or early in the morning in your city. Maybe you're going to get on an airplane or take a train or go to some place you've always wanted to be. Maybe when the pandemic's over, you're going to go travel to the places, but just do not postpone your joy. At the end of the Everyday Hero Manifesto, I talk about a time I was in traffic and there was a gentleman, an elderly gentleman in a convertible. It was bumper to bumper traffic. And I looked at his license plate, and I believe it said time for fun. And one of the things I see people doing is they wait until they're too old to do their dreams, but then they're too old to be able to do their dreams. Don't be a great postponer. Leave no stone unturned. Yes, you're going to fail and get bloodied, but that's what life is about. It's taking risks, trusting your instinct, being bold, being brave, living a colorful life. Yes, you'll get bloodied and knocked down, but failure is the price of ambition, and stumbling is the highway to success. You don't want to spend the best hours of your greatest days watching television in a subdivision, playing small with your gifts and your talents and your promise and your potential. What else for joy? Film, art, music. Well, let me finish up by what I think is the ultimate purpose of life. I think there are actually two. I predict that on your deathbed, I hope you live a healthy, long, wonderful, beautiful, productive, creative, joy-filled, serene life. That is my wish for you. But I predict when you get to the end of your life, only two things will matter. Number one, who did you become? Did you use this day and this year to build self-knowledge of your genius? Too many people are playing victim because they say, I can't make the world better. The world is messy right now. There's nothing I can do. Please help me. Help yourself. Own your power. The thing about a victim is they give away their power to external things. And every time you say, it's not because of this, it's not because of the economy, it's not because of my family, it's not because of the past. By the way, bonus point, let your past be an academy that you learn from versus a prison that you live in. But I predict at the end of your life, only two things will matter. Number one, who did you become? Did you use this year to become your greatest self? And number two, how many people did you help? Did you make people's lives better by maybe radiating positivity? Did you shine a light on other people's talents and give them a glimpse of potential they never knew they had? I think usefulness and service. The founder of Rotary, Paul Harris, said, the one who serves the best profits the most. I think that's really, really powerful. So where do you go from here? Robin, you've shared all these ideas, this philosophy and tactics, hopefully inspiration in our hour together. Where do I go from here? Well, one of the most valuable things you can do is commit to your learning and your growth. You do not have to be the person that you currently are. If you're operating at your highest level, believe me, you've got many more mountaintops to scale and there's much more opportunity. One of the best things you can do to make this year the greatest year of your life yet is to have a mentor that shows you the way. Do this, do that. Here's the system. Here's how the pros do it. Here's how the billionaires do it. Here's how the spiritualists do it. Here is the system. If you'd like me to be your mentor, and if you want to do a little bit of work, then I'd love to be of service to you and offer you an amazing online program based on my book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. The program is called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari Method. Please turn up your listening or your volume because this is very valuable to you. People say, how do I do it? Where do I start? You start by learning. You start by knowledge. You start by information. And then you act on the information daily. Small, daily, seemingly insignificant improvements, when done consistently over time, lead to stunning results. How do I change, Robin? You start today and you make little tiny gains every day. For years, I've called them micro wins, the 1% improvements. Please note this. I say this with great respect, but it's so important. If you improve only 1% every day for the next 30 days, you have made a 30% improvement in whatever area you're focusing on. It could be your positivity, could be your happiness, could be your productivity, could be your bravery, could be your peacefulness. So I've created a program that will help you tremendously. It's called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari Method. It's built around a 30-day challenge where for the next 30 days, I become your mentor and show you a system designed to do one thing, to help you make this year the greatest year of your life yet. It's a pathway, it's clear, it helps you define your purpose, narrow down your targets, and then it shows you exactly how to live them. So this year becomes the single best year of your life yet. If you want one of the very limited memberships to The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari Method, go to themonkmethod.com. Themonkmethod.com. Like all of my online programs, memberships are extremely limited, and I'd be happy to be your mentor and be of service to you and show you how the world's most successful people build amazing years. And I hope this webinar has been of value to you. I hope you and your family and your other loved ones stay safe, creative, productive, joyful. The pandemic will end, of course. The world has gone through pandemics before. Spanish flu comes to mind. Bubonic plague during the Dark Ages comes to mind. Humans survive, humans grow. So remember, better days are ahead. This is an incredible time for, if you can't go out, you can go within. Protect your family, protect your hope, stand strong, and do your best to make the world a brighter place. What I'll end on is just being kind. So simple, but just being decent. I know you're decent, but just being kind and decent to people. Maybe it's in a coffee shop, maybe it's on the street, but just sometimes it's just one sentence that you say to someone that saves their life. So anyway, thank you so much for being here with me. I haven't done a global webinar in years. Thank you for the gift of your time. I wish you the very best, and I hope I've been of service to you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.